Australia's missing cult members, just before they disappeared. Chantel McDougall, her partner Simon Cadwell, their 6-year-old daughter Leela, and family friend Tony Popick.
You should have one of these pies. They're lovely.
There was no bank accounts used, no doctor's appointments. There was no contact with various family members.
Yeah, what would you normally conclude from that in a police investigation?
That they're deceased.
Former Victoria Police homicide detective Barry McIntosh has investigated some of Australia's most notorious crimes, but nothing prepared him for the disappearance of his niece Chantel, along with her daughter Leela. Why pursue your own investigation into this now?
When I got the full report, during COVID, I pulled it to bits and put it back together again, and I found a number of holes. The Western Australian Police would agree that there's a number of missing opportunities, a number of errors in their investigation, and I felt totally guilty about not keeping a closer eye back in the day.
Explain that. Why feel guilty?
Because I was the only policeman in the family. If I'd have kept a better, closer look over the first investigation, it might have assisted.
It all began when Chantel met spiritual guru Simon Cadwell at an ashram and adopted his New Age beliefs. It was the last thing her parents, Jim and Catherine, who's Barry's sister, ever expected. Can you describe your first impressions of Chantel's partner?
Weird. He'd asked me the first time I met him, what planet am I from? And straight away I just went, whoa, what's this guy on about?
Simon ran his online cult, the Truth Fellowship, from this isolated farmhouse in Nannup, 260 kilometres south of Perth. He also wrote 2 books, preaching that the only way to reach a higher spiritual plane was through death.
What was in the books was just weird things that you just, you're going to go to the astro plane and above the sky sort of thing and all sort of stuff. It just made me think about these cults in America where they all bought sand shoes and committed suicide. That's just was my impression straight away,
You immediately thought of death cults?
Yeah, absolutely.
Catherine visited her daughter in the weeks leading up to her disappearance.
As I drove away over the bridge, I just had this gut feeling there was something really wrong. And I burst into tears and cried half the way back to Perth. And then a few weeks later, she phoned us and said she was going to Brazil.
But immigration told Jim they had not left the country, and no one has heard from them since.
It never leaves you because you always think of it. You wake up and you think of it, Because it was Chantel's birthday a few weeks ago and things like that, so it all brings back memories, No answers, that's the problem. We'd like an answer no matter which way it is.
What does it do to your heart?
Just breaks it in two. And I just can't stop thinking about her. It's very hard.
A 2017 inquest failed to conclude whether the group was alive or dead. It also heard 3 of Simon's overseas followers had taken their own lives, and that Simon had been living a lie. Simon, her partner, was he really Simon?
No, he was Gary Felton. He was here under an assumed name.
Police believe he stole a workmate's identity in the UK before moving to Australia.
It just reinforced all our suspicions, I guess, that wasn't a really big surprise. It was just thinking, well, he was dodgy, but not that dodgy,
He was a fraud.
A fraud, absolutely.
Barry believes around the time the group disappeared, their friend Tony Popick travelled under an alias to Northcliffe, just over an hour from Nannup. Then, 3 months later, a prisoner working in bushland in Northcliffe found scattered clothing and told the prison guard he smelled death.
I assume they went there just to commit suicide. The police went to a site where they believed it was, couldn't smell a strong smell of death, saw a red Georgia brand T-shirt on the ground, collected it, subsequently lost it from the police station. And then I was thinking to myself, why wasn't the smell of death there? I knew at that time they went to the wrong spot.
Barry has since tracked down the prison guard and now knows the precise location. He hopes to search it with the help of mine LiDAR technology, which will scan the surface to see if shallow graves lie beneath.
So this is Nan up here,
Yeah.
and right down here is Northcliffe.
It sounds like everything stops in Northcliffe.
It does.
Barry has launched a GoFundMe campaign to support his search. It would be quite significant, obviously, if you did find anything. Are you prepared for that?
Yes, I'm prepared for that. My only problem is if I don't find anything, how I'll deal with it.
You obviously feel that you owe your sister something. Why?
Well, I put myself in their position that if it was my daughter, I don't know how I'd continue on.
17 years since their daughter and granddaughter vanished, the pain is as raw as ever for Catherine and Jim.
I've got somewhere to remember her anyway. The two girls.
Yeah.
You can't just walk down the middle of the road and disappear. There's something's got to know something, you know?
Gosh, finding out that your daughter had died is awful, but not knowing anything is worse.
Worse, yeah.
You know, that idea that, because you would still hold on to some hope that maybe one day they'd knock on your door and say that I'm back. And so that not knowing must be absolutely just...
And
like
every
gripping.
birthday, every
Yeah.
Christmas, every Easter, every holiday is just another one that clicks by without them there. Gosh, how they find them.
And thanks to Catherine and Jim for sharing the story. We know that was difficult, but we really do appreciate it and we hope you do find some answers.